So here's what you need to know for your family. Starting in 2014, most Americans will be required to purchase health insurance or pay a penalty. That penalty will start at $95 a year or up to 1% of a person's income, whichever is greater. Insurance companies will have to sell coverage to everyone regardless of their medical history. Consumers will be able to shop for policies in newly created health insurance exchanges set up by each state. So where does Florida shake out in all this? Florida was the lead state in suing to overturn the health care reform law that critics call Obamacare. Governor Rick Scott even refused to accept millions in federal dollars to help implement the national reform law. Tonight, the governor's unsure how Florida will comply with the U.S. Supreme Court ruling.
Panel in for this one. Mark Bernier, conservative radio talk show host, Susanna Randolph, Democratic strategist, and Dr. Jack Cassell, a local urologist who made his negative opinions on Obamacare known nationwide a couple of years ago when the law passed. Thank you all for coming in. A quick round robin. Mark, we're going to start with you. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on whether you think this was a good or bad ruling and where we go from here. Mark.
Huge mistake. I mean, I was absolutely shocked that this happened today. It's going to set back the economy and it's going to slow hiring. Bad move by the court.
Susanna?
I think it's a great day for Obama and for Mitt Romney, the father of the individual mandate. 19 million middle-class families who stand to gain $4,800 in tax breaks, as well as senior citizens who will save $600 on prescription medications. That's great news for everybody.
And Dr. Cassell, you made, like we said, you put the sign out in front of your office a time ago that said, if you voted for Obama, I don't want to work with you.
That's right.
What do you think?
I think that nothing is going to increase the odds of Obama getting defeated more than the ruling today.
Let's talk about that, Mark, because everyone has said this will really mobilize the right. Do you agree?
Well, if they can keep the momentum going and Romney takes the lead and keeps the energy high, I mean, this is a huge plus and a push for Romney to take the lead and take this presidency in November.
But, Mark,
he's going to keep the energy up.
Isn't it just as easy for those people campaigning against Romney, for the president and all of his people, to say, hey, he did health care in Massachusetts?
No, absolutely not. First, it's a different type of program. And number two, more importantly, most states have people, the majority of which, don't want this. They don't want the program and they want it repealed. So it's a huge advantage for Romney.
Yes, and Susanna, that seems to be, you know, the popular opinion. People were just shocked when this ruling came down because, frankly, it did not have a lot of support. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I think we're, again, 19 million middle-class Americans stand to gain $4,800 in tax breaks. We're seeing people right now, in fact, a woman out in California who opposed Obamacare to begin with actually received benefits from it and was able to help treat her cancer. You know, Mitt Romney, the program that he started in Massachusetts is exactly the same as this. So, you know, I think that Mitt Romney is in a corner right now. He was the father of the individual mandate, but he is still committed to taking away health care from these 19 million middle-class Americans. I don't know any candidate who's ever campaigned on taking something away from the American people. So we'll have to see how that works for Mitt Romney.
Dr. Cassell, I want to get you in on this conversation because you work with people every day. You treat patients. Yeah. You see how the system operates. Why do you think this is a bad idea if it does stand in some ways to help others?
Well, because it's going to lower the lifespan of the average American. Basically, you're pulling out $500 billion from Medicare just as the baby boomers are entering the program. So services are going to be decreased greatly, and basically you're going to lower the lifespan. People are going to die sooner than they are now.
Dr. Cassell, any plans for you to continue to make your thoughts known now that the Supreme Court has ruled on this law?
No, I mean, I think I'm very happy with the ruling. Basically, it's Obama lied. He said that it wasn't a tax, and obviously that was how they argued it to the Supreme Court. Obviously, the lawyers for Obama did not lie, right? And as they argued that it was going to be a tax, it is a tax, and 70% of the people subject to this tax make less than $200,000 a year. So he lied.
And you know what? I do want to end on that thought. Mark, first you, and then Susanna. How do you explain to people, guys, that their costs, their insurance costs, may very well go up because of this? This is not the time to be raising people's bills. Mark, we're going to start with you then, Susanna.
Absolutely terrible. The very fact that you can order somebody to buy something when they don't want it is the very principle that most of us who are opposed to this plan are troubled by. And the fact that you're going to add a whole bunch of new inclusionary issues into this is going to force the cost up. It's going to also force employers to have to look at whether or not they bring on new help, because this means now they automatically have to give them insurance. You can have people living living in the woods, taking no services, not doing anything, that are being told unless you buy health care insurance, you're going to be fine.
Susanna, we have 10 seconds left with the crunch. What do you think?
I think the bottom line is that Florida, Governor Rick Scott and Pam Bondi led the way on this lawsuit, and they lost today. But here we got a governor who defrauded Medicare to the tune of $1.7 billion. And our governor is going to stand in the way of middle-class families getting affordable health care in a time when they really need it during a recession. And, you know, he's going to have to campaign. He and Mitt Romney are going to campaign on taking that away from middle-class Americans. Good luck in November.
We are out of time. We really appreciate the debate. Mark Bernier, Susanna Randolph, and Dr. Jack Cassell.
You bet.
Thank you.